You're sitting alone in a quiet room and nothing is actually wrong. The door is locked. The lights are on. Your phone is right there. But after a while, your brain starts checking for danger anyway. Because for most of human history, being alone didn't mean peace. It meant something had gone wrong. So why are humans so bad at being alone? Let's start with a mistake we make today. We treat loneliness like a mood, like boredom with worse lighting, but your brain treats it more like thirst. It is not saying, wouldn't it be nice to have plans? It is saying, where is everybody? That question used to matter. In 1995, psychologists Roy Baumeister and Mark Leary reviewed decades of research and argued that the need to belong is not a soft preference, it is a basic human motivation, not a decoration on top of survival, part of survival itself. Because a human body is not impressive alone, we are not fast enough to outrun much. We are not strong enough to win many fair fights. Our babies arrive helpless, loud, and unfinished, which is a bold design choice for a dangerous planet. A lone human is clever. A group of humans is weatherproof. Here's where it gets interesting. The group did not just protect you from predators, it held your memory, your food, your childcare, your warnings, your map of who could be. Trusted. That is a lot to lose in one silence. Anthropologist Kim Hill and colleagues published a science study in 2011 looking at co-residence patterns in 32 hunter-gatherer societies. These were not tiny sealed families wandering around like survivor influencers. Camps were flexible networks full of kin, friends, visitors, and unrelated people who still mattered. The point was not just being near humans, it was being known by them. If you were sick, someone noticed. If you found food, someone remembered. If you disappeared, your absence left a hole in the camp's mental map. Today, you can be surrounded by apartment walls and still vanish socially. Ancient people usually couldn't, and that changes what loneliness means. Loneliness is not just the pain of having nobody beside you. It is the pain of your brain losing its external support system. There is a modern lab version of this, and it is almost embarrassing. In 2003, Naomi Eisenberger, Matthew Lieberman, and Kip Williams put 13 people in an fMRI scanner and had them play a simple computer ball tossing game called Cyberball. At first, the other players included them. Then the other players stopped throwing them the ball. That was it, no insult. No dramatic betrayal, just a fake digital snub from fake digital people. The brain still reacted. The more distress the participants felt, the more activity showed up in the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, a region linked with the unpleasantness of pain. Social exclusion did not just make people sad, it looked in the brain like something had hurt. A cartoon ball game, rude little pixels. But your nervous system took notes because exclusion used to be a body problem. If the group pulled away, food pulled away, defense pulled away, information pulled away. The future pulled away, so the alarm had to be loud. Then, around 2020, Livia Tomova and colleagues tested a sharper version of the same idea. What might be? They asked 40 adults to spend 10 hours socially isolated, then scanned their brains. While they looked at social images, after isolation, the midbrain responded to social cues in a way that looked similar to craving food after fasting, 10 hours, not 10 years in a cave. One strange day without people, and the brain started wanting faces like the body wants. Lunch, that is the key. Loneliness is not proof that you are needy. It is proof that your brain still uses other people as part of its basic equipment. Even threat feels different when someone is there. In 2006, psychologist James Cohn and colleagues put 16 married women in an fMRI scanner and warned them they might receive an electric shock. Sometimes they held their husband's hand. Sometimes they held a stranger's hand. Sometimes they held no hand. The threat was the same. The brain was not. Holding a partner's hand reduced activity in systems involved in emotional and threat. Response: a trusted person helped more, which means companionship is not just comfort after danger, it can change how dangerous danger feels. This is why just be independent is such a thin answer. Independence is useful. Solitude can be beautiful, but total self sufficiency is not the human default. The human default is shared load, shared watching, shared remembering, shared panic, ideally with snacks. But the real reason loneliness hurts is deeper than safety. It is identity. You do not learn who you are alone in a sealed room. You learn it through reflected attention. A laugh tells you that you landed. A look tells you that you crossed a line. A familiar voice tells you that some version of you exists outside your own head. Take that away for long enough, and the self starts echoing. That is why ostracism is so cruel. Kip Williams spent decades studying it, and his work keeps finding the same pattern: being. Ignored threatens belonging, control, self esteem, and meaningful existence. Four needs at once. The body can sit safely in a chair while the mind feels erased. Here is the ancient face of it. At Dmanisi in Georgia, researchers described a 1.77 million year old hominin skull known as D344. The individual had lost almost every tooth years before death. The tooth sockets had healed over with bone, which means this person kept living after. Chewing became brutally difficult. Imagine that for a second. An old hominin, cold wind moving over the Caucasus, and a mouth that could barely do its job. Alone, that person probably fades. With others, survival remains possible. Someone shares softer food. Someone tolerates slowness. Someone does not leave the toothless one behind the first time the camp moves. That is not sentimentality. That is the fossil record whispering something awkward. Care is older than civilization, older than cities, older than the neat modern fantasy that a person should handle everything alone. We did not become human by needing nobody. We became human by becoming worth keeping. So, when you feel lonely in a world full of notifications, your brain is not confused because it wants attention. It is confused because attention used to mean location, protection, memory, proof that the group still had you in mind. A text back is not just a text back. To the old brain, it is a campfire blinking in the distance. Of course, modern life scrambles this. You can have hundreds of contacts and nobody to call. You can be visible online and unseen at dinner. You can perform connection all day and still arrive at night with that strange little ache, asking, where is everybody? The tragedy is not that we are weak. The tragedy is that we built a world where ancient social hunger can be fed with signals that don't always nourish it. So, why are humans so bad at being alone? Because alone was never just a location, it was a warning. And somewhere inside you, older than language, older than streets, older than the growing, scream beside your bed, there is still a small ancestral mind listening for footsteps. Outside the dark, the ache of loneliness is not proof that you are broken. It is proof the oldest part of you is still counting heads.